Ladies and gentlemen, weebs and waifus, welcome to Kyo World here on YouTube. And let me just start by saying it is a testament to just how good the story of Berserk is for me to be watching this poor excuse of an anime. Berserk 100% deserves better than this, and so let me just real quick shout out Studio Eclipse for announcing their adaptation of Berserk coming in 2025 in the summertime. Their trailer looks absolutely insane, and it looks like they are going to do Berserk justice. Unlike the 2016 adaptation, of course. Speaking of injustice, it would be an injustice if you didn't like the video and smash that subscribe button. Don't be like 2016 Berserk. And now, without further ado, 2016 Berserk. Let's talk about it. Now, to preface, this video will only be covering the first 12 episodes of the 2016 adaptation. The second season will be covered in a separate video. Jemba and Millipinci Studios helmed the animation production on this project. Most notable works from them are Psycho-Pass and Noblesse. Both I am familiar with and enjoyed. There isn't much positive you can say, however, about the animation of this version of Berserk. I am sure the footage used for this video will be proof enough of just how terrible it really is. It is a weird mix of 2D and 3D animation, and it just comes across as confused. There's a 2D director, so all his ideas come out in 2D, but the animation studios focus in 3D, so it's a weird sort of dance of mixing stuff together, mixing 2D and 3D together for no real rhyme or reason. Especially when you compare this to the 1997 version or even the film trilogy adaptation that precedes it. You just end up asking yourself, what the happened? But as I stated earlier, I was already just so invested in the story that I just had to know what follows the eclipse. And that is where we begin. The story begins just 2 years after the solar eclipse, said to mark the birth of the Falcon of Darkness, who would usher a dark age. The vengeful swordsman named Guts ends up beating up a group of bandits, tormenting an elf, while coming to a tavern for a momentary rest. Now, quick side note, if you are unfamiliar with the story and don't know of the Eclipse Event, I recommend that you go back and watch my first video on Berserk, which covers the 1997 version. So 2 years after the eclipse, Guts takes his leave with the elf, named Puck, becoming his unwanted traveling companion. The two later hitch a ride with the priest and his daughter Colette, though Guts tried to turn down the priest's generosity to protect them from the restless spirits drawn to his brand. After sunset, the spirits begin their attack, and both the priest and his daughter are killed off, while Guts manages to defeat animated skeletons and then a pagan sacrificial tree. After sunrise, Guts finds himself surrounded by the Holy Iron Chain Knights, who have been hunting for him since the eclipse after coming across the remains of mutilated men in a pool of blood. Despite his fatigue from his night-long battle with the spirits, Guts easily kills some of the Holy Chain Iron Knights, who have been sent by the Church of the Holy See to capture him. When Guts finds himself overwhelmed by their vice commander Azan, he attempts to dash at the knight's leader Farnese, but Guts is wounded by a cross arrow bolt, followed by a piece of wood by Serpico, and loses consciousness. Once stripped of his gear and brought to the knight's camp, Guts is interrogated by Lady Farnese for answers that include the mysterious demise of the Band of the Falcon, having found the mercenary group's bloody remains after the eclipse. As Guts mocks on her authority and her faith, Farnese whips him until Azan arrives. Guts is placed in a cage soon after, freed by Puck at nightfall as the spirits start to awaken. Guts enters Lady Farnese's tent to recover his equipment while finding her in the middle of self-flagellation. Deciding to take her hostage for a quick escape, the other knights work to seize the fire Guts started, while Serpico gives chase after the swordsman, the knight finding himself surrounded by pursuing spirits. The spirits pass Serpico and chase Guts to an abandoned mansion as he tells Farnese, who is unable to see them or Puck, that they are her god's miracles. Guts quickly gets Farnese and the horse inside as the spirits possess hounds and use them to break in. Guts manages to kill the dogs before facing the estate's kennel master, an apostle who mounted the remains of a woman he cared for and unknowingly sacrificed on the foyer. Guts defeats the apostle and kills him after attempting to interrogate him on the God Hand, searching for Farnese after she fled in terror. Guts finds Farnese as she was about to be violated by the possessed horse, killing the creature as its act brought back horrible memories. Farnese then ends up being possessed herself and forced to act her lust before sunrise. Serpico retrieves a mortified Farnese and escorts her back to her camp while allowing Guts a reprieve. Meanwhile, in the city of Windham, the King of Midland passes away after a vision of Griffith returning while a foreign army comes to his land. After having a vision of Casca being burned at the stake, Guts returns to Godot's hut to check in on her. After he arrives, he receives the terrible news of Casca's disappearance. Guts struggles with his past demons along with the growing evil within his soul, as he fears Casca is the only reminder of his sanity left. After talking with Rickert at the Hill of Swords, Guts resolves himself. Godot arms Guts with new armor and a reforged Dragon Slayer to prepare him for his new journey. Meanwhile, the Holy Iron Chain Knights accompany the Grand Inquisitor's caravan as an escort. They are soon attacked by rebels who seek revenge against the Holy See, but are swiftly captured by masked inquisitors. The Grand Inquisitor himself, Mosgus, steps outside to lecture the rebels before having the survivors executed on breaking wheels. Unbeknownst to everyone, Casca is cluelessly traveling with the Holy Iron Chain Knights. Guts encounters and kills a party of cushioned scouts, saving the life of Isidoro, who follows him out of admiration. Meanwhile, catching some starving refugees attacking a food wagon, Mosgus brings a refugee and her baby to the abbey. Although her baby is cared for, Mosgus tortures her for her blasphemy. In the refugees' camp, Luca keeps Casca disguised as her bandaged sister Elaine and shares her payment from clients, including the knight Jerome, with her fellow prostitutes. One of them, Nina, worries about her disease while fetching water with Casca, not noticing the spirits stalking them. Isidoro catches up with Guts when they are attacked by more possessed corpses. As Casca is saved by the monstrous fetus, Guts encounters the mysterious Skull Knight for the first time in years since the eclipse. Guts is disturbed to learn that the God Hand are using Albion as the site of a horrific ritual to restore Griffith's corporeal form, refusing to accept it as fate as he resumes his run toward the city, with Isidoro still following. The next day, as Farnese finds herself struggling with her faith, Nina meets her recurring customer Joachim and tests his love for her by having him come with her to a midnight orgy held by the pagan cult's goat-headed leader. Joachim gradually engages until learning that the pagans are cannibals and runs off before he is seemingly killed. Nina breaks down before seeing Luca, who disciplines her before forgiving her, and then learning that Casca followed her. Casca nearly gets raped by the pagans who found her until they were possessed by spirits. Luckily, Casca was saved by the fetus, and the surviving pagans assume she is a witch. Returning to camp while fearing persecution, Luca finds Pepe arrested by pagan hunters and tries to defend her before they are saved by Guts, who just arrived to Albion and dispatched the hunters while asking for Casca's whereabouts. Luca takes Guts to Casca's tent upon noticing his brand, only to find that a fearful Nina abducted her. But Isidoro finds Nina as she and Casca are captured by the pagan cult, who intend to marry the Black Witch to the Great Goat while Nina is to be sacrificed. After the Holy Iron Chain Knights are led to the pagan's cave by Joachim, Farnese finds herself in another unnatural situation when they are attacked by possessed cultists who slaughtered their own. During the ensuing chaos, as Isidoro attempts to save Casca, the Great Goat is transformed into a satyr-like apostle by a mysterious observer and kills anyone within reach. When the Great Goat then attempts to consummate his marriage, Guts arrives at the last second to save Casca as the two see each other for the first time in 2 years. Having arrived just in time, Guts saves Casca as the two are reunited. However, the reunion is cut short once the Great Goat attacks Guts. Guts battles the fearsome apostle as the Holy Iron Chain Knights retreat with Isidoro, Puck, and Nina escaping with Casca. Guts succeeds in killing the Great Goat with the help of Rickart's miniature bombs, while Casca and Nina are once again confronted by the Holy Iron Chain Knights, who capture them. Guts makes his way out of the cult's cavern, only to be ambushed by Serpico on a cliffside. Serpico reveals he has been seeking to kill the Black Swordsman and has prepared the duel in his favor due to the terrain and Guts' current state. Guts is surprised by Serpico's remarkable speed and agility, but manages to win the encounter once he crushes Serpico's sword with his iron prosthetic. Serpico escapes by using Guts' miniature bombs against him, while Guts confronts Isidoro about Casca's disappearance. Guts, Isidoro, and Nina return to the Tower of Conviction, while Puck searches the cells inside for the duo. Nina is taken first by Mozgus' disciples to be tortured first for information on the Black Witch, leaving Casca behind. All the while, a mysterious egg-shaped apostle dwells at the top of the tower, waiting for its plan to come to fruition. After Nina named her as the witch he seeks, Mozgus places Casca in an Iron Maiden upon seeing her brand, but it causes the spirits of the tortured to manifest as a flesh-eating blob of blood, with almost everyone able to escape. While Luca and Isidoro use Jerome to free Nina, Guts forces Farnese to take him to the torture chamber, where Puck tells him Casca is still alive. With Casca trapped inside it, the blood moves up the tower as Mozgus' group barricades themselves in the chapel, but they are then transformed by the Observer. Mozgus deemed it divine providence, as he burns away some of the blood with his flames. Though he freed Casca and saved Luca's group, Mozgus intends to have the former burned at the stake while his men attack the latter. Luca sacrifices herself so Jerome can save Nina, only to be saved by the Skull Knight as he was about to attack the Observer. Guts arrives soon after and battles 3 of Mozgus' men as the Inquisitor's group all sprout wings. Luca is spirited away by the mysterious Observer, who reveals himself to her as a Beharet-like apostle, self-dubbed the Egg of the Perfect World. The egg tells Luca his story and his long observation of everyone in Albion, detailing his ideals and the event to soon occur before fleeing from the Skull Knight. The Skull Knight takes Luca to safety as the living mounds of starved corpses rise up. Back in the Tower of Conviction, while the other disciples deal with Guts, Mozgus and the twins fly off with Casca. While Guts manages to kill Mozgus' disciples, the possessed blood causes the tower to partially collapse, with Guts enduring the cave-in to see the chaos unfolding in the slums. Mozgus uses his powers to keep the corpses at bay, while the refugees proceed to build a pyre to burn Casca on. Guts sees this while noticing the 4 senior members of the God Hand manifesting through the blood. As Luca walks back to Albion after the Skull Knight took her to the outskirts, the Egg of the Perfect World swallows the dying demon child out of sympathy before resuming his climb up the Tower of Conviction. At the same time, enlisting Jerome and Nina's help, Isidoro uses his makeshift pulley system to free Casca as she was about to be burned alive. Mozgus nearly catches them after forming a barrier to keep the corpse mounds at bay, when Guts leaps off the tower and impales the Inquisitor, but Mozgus' Bible shielded him from the attack while he fully transforms. As Isidoro's group eliminate the last of Mozgus' disciples, the Inquisitor's flame barrier dies out as he attempts to give Guts a chance to recant, but Guts instead uses his miniature bombs to blow apart the unprotected chink in Mozgus' armored body to land the death blow. After a brief reunion with Casca, the corpses manage to flood into Albion, as Guts gives his group torches so they can outlast the few remaining hours of the night. Guts and his group fend off the flood of corpses with their fire while Luca saves Nina down below the tower. Meanwhile, the Egg of the Perfect World collects the energy of Albion's souls and sacrifices himself to incarnate Griffith in a corporeal form. The Tower of Conviction collapses, killing everyone inside as the sun rises. Guts and the others collect themselves, but are quickly surrounded by Salat and his cushions. The cushions are immediately repelled by Zod, who bursts through the rubble and marches to a nearby hill. At that moment, everybody ceases fighting to witness Griffith arising from the ground as Zod kneels before him. Guts goes to immediately attack, but is stopped by Casca. As the Cushion army proceeds with this invasion, Zod and Griffith escape into the skies, while Guts, Puck, and Casca ride to Godot's on horseback. Isidoro departs on his own, while Luca mourns the death of the egg. While Nina reunites with Joachim, Farnese leaves her faith behind, deciding to follow Guts as Serpico follows her as well. So, there you have it. That's season 1 of 2016 Berserk for you in a nutshell. I have officially watched Berserk 2016 so that you don't have to. You're welcome, by the way. And if you have made it to this point in the video, a huge arigato to you. And if you are new to the channel, please once again make sure to subscribe. It is free and easy to do. And if you have seen 2016 Berserk, let me know if you actually enjoyed the animation or not. I love hearing from you guys. And in the meantime and in between time, sayonara.